an SG1. Nope, that's not a thing. Inside SG1.
That would be weird.
Yes.
Welcome to Stargazing, a Stargate gazing podcast. I'm your host, Mary.
And I'm your other host, Kathy.
And each week we review an episode of Stargate alternating between SG1 and Atlantis. Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah.
Excellent.
What's up?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's been a boring week. Nothing new. Just all grading all the time, and that's mostly been my week.
Yay.
Nothing interesting or new to report.
Yeah.
That I can think of. How about you?
Nothing new. Still hanging out with my new kitty. I guess he's still new. I've had him for less than a week.
That's new.
Yeah. He's still pretty new. And he's very cute. And
He is very cute.
Sleeping right next to me right now.
Aw.
No. I opened the windows this morning. I had kept the AC on for the last few days because it's just been... My house gets like to 80 degrees if I don't.
That's very warm.
Yeah. I opened them this morning and turned off the AC and he was like... What is this world? Oh my God.
Silly kitty.
Stare out the window, then do a bunch of zoomies, and then jump back in the window. It's very cute.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Coconut did one of her little tiny howls at a passing fire truck again today, and it was hilarious and adorable. Coconut, being all of 25 pounds, doesn't really howl. I don't remember if I've mentioned her adorable tiny howls on here before, but she's a Chihuahua mix. She doesn't really howl because that's not a thing Chihuahuas do. But for whatever reason, fire trucks specifically, not any other kind of sirens, but just fire trucks, will set her to howling. And if any of you have ever seen a video of like a little husky puppy learning how to howl, it sounds exactly like that, and it makes my head explode every time because it's just so cute.
It's very cute.
And she was at it for quite a while today. So that was my pet excitement of the day.
Aw.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes, it was adorable. Lily, nothing new to report there. She continues to be cute and very soft.
That is good. I am glad she keeps up with those very good attributes.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, she works hard at them, and it makes her tired and snuggly.
Yeah. And then you just gotta pet the cuteness.
Indeed. It makes it hard to get anything else done because I just want to stay on the couch all day and snuggle with puppies.
Yeah. I want to snuggle with this cat, but this cat mostly just wants to play, so...
Oh.
Which is good.
How old is he?
He's like 1.5 years, so...
Oh, yeah. He's still a kid.
Yeah, so it's nice because I'm like, this is fun, but also I'm like, I have things to do. But it's okay.
Yes. Same.
When he's laying next to me, that's fine. Now we're multitasking. I'm petting him while we podcast.
Indeed. That is two things. I can't really have the dogs around while I'm podcasting because there's not anywhere for them to sit in the office here.
Yeah.
If I let Lily in, she actually just sits behind me and whines, so I can't. I don't know why. She really doesn't like me sitting in this corner and recording stuff. I think sometimes because when I'm recording videos for work, like lecture videos, if I mess up, I'll clap so that there's a waveform in the audio feeds to help me figure out where the mistake was. And I think that she thinks I'm getting mad at her or something when I do that. And so she just sits and whines and vibrates behind me, and I can't have her in here.
No.
And even if I'm not clapping and I'm just like recording and nothing is going on, she will still continue to do that anyway.
Oh,
so.
Lily.
Yeah. So no dogs in the recording space, typically.
Yeah. I also got my vaccines today.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I told you I was going to be late to recording because of vaccines. Yeah, we went and got ours. And yeah, we did get COVID vaccines.
Hell yeah.
So suck it, anyone that says that we can't have them, because it's a deadly disease. It's horrible. The last time I had it, it was excruciatingly painful. So yeah, I'm going to get my fucking COVID vaccine.
Damn right.
And of course, my flu vaccine.
Me too.
Huzzah, go us.
Did they have you sit in between two nurses who both jabbed you?
No, that's weird.
They did that. I was hoping they would do it at the same time, but they didn't.
That would have been hilarious.
I would have enjoyed it a lot.
Jeff and I went in at the same time, and we were surprised they had us both go into the room together. But I mean, that's fine. But normally you don't go into an examination room with two people if you both have an appointment. But, it's just vaccines, not like a full-on doctor's appointment.
True.
And also, he has all of my HIPAA rights.
Right,
so he's allowed to know those things. So, yeah, I guess we thought it was a bit strange. But Jeff went first, and he was a very brave boy, and he did not cry. And he did not scream or whine or anything. He was very brave. And then I was also very brave, I must say.
I hope you guys had some lollipops afterward or something.
We did not. But I did have pie before I went.
Ooh.
If that counts.
I think that counts. You
Okay,
pre-treated for that.
Excellent. Yeah. And now I'm having a diet soda.
Nice.
Or a Dr. Pepper Zero, which is also a treat.
Delicious. Yeah, I think, mine had that because they had station set up as a flu clinic, so... it was
gotcha.
At my employer's place of health.
Gotcha. I haven't seen my job do one of those in a long time, so I don't think they really do now that the pandemic is over. They did a couple after we went back to in-person, but I don't think they do them anymore. So yeah, I just went to the pharmacy.
Yeah.
To get them both.
Hell yeah. And then I went across and had a doctor's appointment in the same building. It was all very convenient.
Woo.
Yeah.
Exciting.
That's why I did it today, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be there anyway.
Excellent.
Get it done.
Excellent. Taking care of our health.
Somewhat.
And also ensuring that we don't spread diseases to other people that are preventable.
Yes.
Because it's not just about being vaccinated yourself. It's about not spreading it to people who are immunocompromised or too young to be vaccinated.
Yep. Preach it. Vaccines are good.
I will lecture about vaccines. Actually, my vaccine lecture is coming up next week.
Hell yeah.
I will literally lecture about it too. But that time I get paid for it and I'm supposed to.
Yay.
I, once again, have absolutely nothing for
I was trying to think of, like...
into this.
Yeah,
You know whose baby's not vaccinated? That's really horrible. I'm sorry.
But doesn't need to be, because she has a magic
But also doesn't need to be. Right, yes.
Who's that?
It's Vala.
Oh, right. She had a baby.
We had a baby. It's a boy.
She did. In case anyone forgot about that, because they, conveniently don't talk about it very much.
That's true.
And Vala is surprisingly well adapted for someone who essentially lost a child.
Indeed.
Yeah.
She's just avoiding it all.
Indeed.
Yeah.
What is this episode we're about to talk about?
This is Stargate SG1, Season 10, Episode 7, Counter-Strike.
Bomb has been planted.
Indeed. And it starts with a recap. There is an ancient weapon that destroys replicators. Maybe they should share that with the people on Atlantis. Vala had a baby and didn't get to keep her baby. And like we just said, she's been handling that surprisingly well. I would think most people would be devastated by that. Yeah. Turns out that baby grows super fast and is already a tween. Daniel and Vala escape the Ori ship, but have to leave Adria behind. End recap.
We start on a non-Earth planet. A bunch of people in the village are gathered around to hear the good word of origin.
Woo.
Yes. Very exciting. An Ori warship actually landed on the planet, so this isn't just a prior coming down and prioring around. It's a big deal.
They're way bigger than I realized that they were, because when we saw them, they were just a bunch of them in the middle of that big field, but we see it next to a village.
True.
And yeah, it's way more huge than I had realized that they were.
Ginormous.
Yes. Towering over the village, too.
Indeed. The prior is talking about how the darkness of their world has been lifted, so this group of villagers has decided origin is for them.
Great.
Trito Dogra, Isoyoto Amuno Noka.
Then we see in that crowd of cheering villagers so excited to hear from the prior, SG1 is there, incognito. I did not think that was a flattering hat for Sam, personally.
No, it wasn't. I actually somehow didn't even recognize her at first. I was like, who's that? Is that Sam? That is Sam. What a weird looking hat.
Yeah.
It actually reminded me of the hat that some PhDs wear at our graduation ceremony.
Yeah.
But an even weirder version of the PhD hat, though.
Now that you say that I was trying to picture a hat of a similar that I knew of, but...
Yeah. Do you think she was just looking for an excuse to wear her regalia? And because she doesn't attend graduation ceremonies yearly like I have to, she just decided to wear her regalia to this planet?
Maybe. She's like, this has been sitting in my closet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we see not only is there a prior there along with the giant ship, a woman
Old woman! Man! Ma'am, sorry.
comes out that Vala recognizes as Adria. And we recognize the actress as Marina Baccarin, who, I don't know what else she's done, but she was in Firefly. That's what I recognize her from.
Indeed. Me too. I know she's been in many other things, but that's what I have seen her in. What was her name in that? I forget.
Inara.
Right.
Yeah. She is there to also address the crowd. She talks about how the unbelievers took up arms to suppress the truth, and they failed and were vanquished, which means probably they were all murdered.
Yep. Fair bet.
Yes. She says, origin cannot be extinguished, and it will flourish throughout this world and to countless others. And the believers will be rewarded, and you need to get in on sharing the good word and joining our army. I forgot that important part.
That's the most important part,
Yep.
Kathy. How could you forget that?
You mean they're not just going to do this through the power of persuasion with their giant ship and all of their obliteration they've already done? They're not just going to change tack?
Apparently not.
Oh, all right. Well, she heads on back inside, and then we jump up to the Odyssey. SG1 got a trip there instead of having to go through the Stargate. Mitchell's like, I've done 200 trips through the gate. I don't want to ruin that. I'm going to keep it at 200 a while. It's a nice even number. So how about we get a ride? And they're like, sure. So the Odyssey is in orbit. Marks lets Emerson know they're picking up an energy reading from the surface of the planet, a wave of radiation coming from the Stargate. He orders SG1 evacuated, while we see that there is an actual wave of energy engulfing the planet. And SG1 is zapped out of there. Beamed is the word. SG1 is beamed out of there.
Just in time.
Yes. Just in the nick of time. At least we saw how they escaped.
Yes. Unlike in the 200 episodes
Yes.
where they were surrounded. And then Marty's like, nah, you don't need the audience will figure it out. Yeah.
Not in this case.
Yep.
Marks lets everyone know he is now no longer picking up life signs on the planet, and they are like,
Yikes.
what? Emerson is like, is it a malfunction? And Marks says, nope, everything's working as normal. Daniel's like, there were thousands of people on that planet, but there are no people on that planet anymore. When we get a shot of the planet's surface, all we see are piles of clothing laying around on the ground.
Yeah. It was weird. First I was like, they've been feet shoes.
Me
Wait,
too.
no, they've been body clothed.
Yeah.
Wait, no, there's no bodies left. And also, would it be body clothed? Not really.
No, yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I was
No.
like, did they feet shoe them? I guess I don't remember this episode.
And yeah, they're not raptured because they didn't ascend to anywhere. It just was weird that it just left their clothes.
yeah.
And took them. And I really wanted it to be body clothed, but then I decided that didn't make any sense since there were no bodies because the feet shoes.
There
had
were
feet
still
in them.
feet.
Not that feet shoes made any sense either.
No.
But it entertained us, and that's what mattered.
We have our internal logic to worry about.
Yes, exactly.
And then we have credits.
Yes, and there's credits. Sometime later on the Odyssey, Vala and Daniel are in the hallway, and they're all basically assuming that Adria was on the planet and that everybody on the planet, including her, are dead. Daniel's trying to tell her that they still don't really know exactly what happened, but Vala is not trying to be optimistic about this. She just is willing to accept that. And in a weird way, she's almost relieved because it was a terrible thing for Adria to be what she was, essentially. Vala didn't really want to feel like she was in any way responsible for the enslavement of an entire galaxy. Daniel tried to cut her off there and say it was not her fault. It was not her choice at all, really. But Vala says that she could have done something about it if she'd really wanted to. She's the one that let Adria be born. And Daniel's like, well, yeah, but she was your child, so don't beat yourself up for not ending that before she was born. It was a weird and grim scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Vala says maternal instinct can only excuse so much, so she's really blaming herself for the whole situation, even though she has no blame there whatsoever. Next, we're back in the SGC, and Puelter is there. He tells Landry that there is an off-world activation, and it's Braytac.
Yay, Braytac.
Yay.
I really want to yay Braytac, but
Yeah, me too. But in this case, he has come to tell them that there's a matter that threatens millions of lives. And I was thinking to myself, why can't he ever come with good news?
I know.
Good news, everyone!
He's always just coming by to tell the SGC about the terrible things that are happening. Just come by for a visit. Everyone likes you. Just come by to say hi sometime, Braytac, instead of with all the doom and gloom.
And maybe he could be like, hey guys, I'm going on a beach vacation on this random planet. Do you guys want to come?
Yeah, who wants to come?
Yeah.
It'll be great. We'll have fun. We'll play games. We'll drink some beers. It'll be good times.
Yeah, I would enjoy that, but no.
Yeah. No, that doesn't happen.
No, it does not.
So we're just camping out and unwind, relaxing.
Next, we're back on the planet with some Stargate, or actually they probably came from the Odyssey, right? There's people on the planet in hazmat suits checking the radiation levels, but they're okay. One of them reports, there's no chemical or biological agents in the atmosphere. The person who's radioing with the Odyssey also says, the weird thing is, whatever it was, it only targeted living tissue. Everything else, including all of the armor and clothing, was left behind. SG1 is on the bridge of the Odyssey, and Sam's like, you said the wave emanated from the Stargate? And Mark confirms that. And then it went over the entire surface of the planet. Teal'c is like, we know of only one device that would operate in such a manner. Uh-oh.
Dun, dun, dun. But then we're back in the SGC. Yeah. Braytac is telling everybody much of what they already know. Everybody is falling to the Ori, basically, and they do have an ancient device on Dakara, the same one that was used to fight off the replicators. This part actually is new, though, because Braytac does tell them that it was them that destroyed all of the people on that planet. They have figured out how to unmake living beings, as Braytac refers to it. So not only can they unmake replicators, now they can unmake people and other living tissue, as we have learned about in the last scene.
Weird, sterile way of saying mass murder.
Right. Yes. Right. Exactly. And so he says that a couple hours ago they had their first target, and it was a planet that, of course, we already know about because that is the planet that everybody is currently on, trying to figure out what the hell happened. Braytac is very dismayed to learn that SG1 was there, but relieved when Landry clarifies that they were beamed out before they were killed. But none of the villagers were so lucky, so it destroyed everybody. And Braytac is very dismayed by that. He is very anti-Jaffa using this weapon. He was trying to talk them out of it, and apparently nobody was listening. They have a new leader called Satak, and he convinced the council that this was the only thing that they could do if they wanted to try to survive the Ori. So it sounds like this was basically a test run on this planet. Yeah. And they're gonna take that show on the road and try it on other planets. So that's neat.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Between the Ori and this weapon, there will be no one left in this galaxy.
Awesome. Well, we got Atlantis at least to back us up. Pegasus Galaxy will still be fine.
It'll be all right.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. So Landry wants to meet Satak and figure out what the hell's going on and see if he can maybe negotiate to stop the genocide. Because, generally stopping genocide is a good thing. And by generally, I mean always.
Yes. So Satak's name is too close to Hatak for me, and half the time in this episode I thought they were saying Hatak, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it is spelled almost the same too, just one letter off. So.
So, yeah.
I can see that.
We'll distinguish it in this talking.
By calling him Satak, because I forgot that they had pronounced it as Satak.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. Yeah. Even though I just watched it a little while ago. But here we are.
Yeah. I was like, what Hatak? What are they talking about? Oh, it's the guy. Okay. News has traveled to the Odyssey about the weapon, and Teal'c says he is ashamed that his brothers have utilized these methods. And that there is no honor, and freedom without honor is meaningless. And I love Teal'c.
Teal'c is great. I know a lot of people in this country that could learn a lesson or two from Teal'c.
Indeed.
Indeed.
But not lessons on how to treat your spouse or children.
No, definitely not. Don't listen to him for that.
No. But other lessons about freedom and honor and...
Yes, that.
Yeah.
And not doing genocide.
Yes. Teal'c's like, okay, well, this is done, so let's move on a little bit, and there's maybe an opportunity here? And that is, Sam adds, that they've got an Ori ship on the ground with no people in it and nobody to guard it. So, free ship, guys?
Yay!
Yeah. Teal'c says they need to act quickly. So, the next we see, they're down in the ship. Sam's like, we gotta find the control room. Mitchell says, let's split up, because we've got a lot of ground to cover, so... Mitchell and Teal'c go away, while Sam and Daniel and Vala all go together? Or does Sam go off by herself?
I think Sam went off by herself. I thought it was just Daniel and Vala.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of splitting up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam doesn't need any backup. She's badass. She's got this.
That's right. That's our Sam.
Indeed. Daniel and Vala are wandering around, and Vala wants to ask him a question. When they had been talking before, Daniel had mentioned that he kind of knew how she felt, and Vala wanted to know more information about that. How could he possibly know how she was feeling with her mild bit of relief over Adria's fate? And so they talk about Daniel's wife. Remember her all the way back in the day?
Right.
Yeah, Sharae was taken host by Goa'uld, and so... basically became a terrible person, but not really. She was just hosting, and so things did not go well for her, as we all know. And he says that now he can at least draw some comfort that she's no longer suffering. And so her end was almost a relief in some ways, because she was no longer being controlled by a gross, disgusting hagfish. In a different hallway, Mitchell and Teal'c have arrived at a door, and they open, and it's a giant chamber with a glowy throne in the middle.
I thought it looked like a glowing egg, but I don't know.
It did, yeah. Well, it looked like a glowing throne in the middle of a glowing egg.
Ah, yes.
There was like a seat-like appearance inside the middle, the giant oval in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is now your chair.
At least it looked like a seat to me. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It looked like it, but anyway. Maybe this is the power generator chamber. I thought it was a control station, but Teal'c says it's power, so maybe I'm just misremembering it looking like a chair.
I mean, there's a chair in the room Sam finds.
Oh, okay.
But...
I don't know. I don't know chairs or furniture. They're going to keep this in mind in case they need to maybe disable the vessel. They're going to leave some C4 here just in case that they can detonate remotely. Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teal'c talks about the exalted warrior who achieves victory without battle, but then Mitchell goes on to talk about how winning shows strength, winning without fighting shows true skill, and I was surprised he didn't attribute that to his grandma, because
that's true.
Usually all bits of wisdom that he has are from his grandma. But this one came from General Landry, and he thinks that General Landry was quoting Sun Tzu from this one, or maybe Dr. Phil, who knows, but it was not Mitchell's grandma.
In the SGC... Walter and Landry are walking through a hallway. Landry is dressed to go off-world. Walter thinks maybe bring some Marines with you, but Landry says this is a diplomatic mission. He's going to go see the Jaffa, and he doesn't want to disrespect them in their own house. So he says, sometimes you make the right decision, sometimes you make the decision right. Walter attributes this to Patton, but Landry says, nope, Dr. Phil. So apparently Landry loves quoting Dr. Phil.
Apparently so. It would have been way better if Landry also attributed this to Mitchell's grandma.
That would be great. So he's headed off.
Back on the Ori ship, Sam has found the control room, and there's a weapon in there. And the one chair that we mentioned that I was thinking was in the other room, but is in fact in this room. So she radios to everybody to say that she's found something.
The comfy chair.
And tells them about the interface that she's seeing with this chair that was in there. It looks very similar to the platform in Antarctica. So, of course, the technology would be similar to the ancients, Daniel says. Okay, Daniel.
Of course.
Sure. I mean, I know technically there's a vague relationship between the ancients and the Ori, but that would be like saying that you would expect all stylistic choices in, I don't know, Asia and Africa and North America to be the same because we're all related to each other. I just thought it seemed weird.
Yeah.
They figure that it was likely the priors that were flying the ship and not any villagers, so it would at least make sense that they needed to have special telepathic powers, as the ancient weapons all require. But, as Sam points out, that probably means that chair is going to need some pretty unique brain physiology. But Mitchell tells them about Plan B, which is the C4. Sam doesn't really want to do that just yet. She wants to get more information about whatever might be in the database before they start blowing up important vessels. But Mitchell's not convinced. He really doesn't want to stay here long enough for Ori to come back and claim the ship. So, time is of the essence there, Sam. And then we hear some people running around. Teal'c and Mitchell pull their weapons, and there are staff weapons being powered on and pointed at them. Sam asks what's happening, and Mitchell says that they've got some company, and that company is in the form of some Jaffa holding their weapons on Mitchell and Teal'c.
Shall kick them run.
So they have a bit of a standoff there, which is bad. One of them introduces himself as Borrell of the Free Jaffa. Mitchell says that they were there first, but nope, this guy is here to claim this vessel, him and his companions, because they were the ones that set off the weapon, so this is their ship. Mitchell and Teal'c, at hearing that these people were behind the firing of the weapon, or at least had something to do with it, of course, are angry and incensed at the massive slaughter. And Borrell says, well, it was their fault. They should have resisted. They shouldn't have given in to the Ori, so sucks to be them, but they had it coming.
Yeah.
Mitchell's like, so die at the hands of the Ori or at the hands of the Jaffa? Great. Awesome choice there.
Can't win.
Nope. Sam, meanwhile, is messing around on the bridge trying to figure out how to do anything. She touches something that makes a noise and the lights start to dim. Daniel asks what that was when he sees the lights dim. Then we are back with Mitchell and Borrell. They're continuing to go back and forth about whose ship this is. And then, of course, it devolves into gunfire and Zat blasts and staff weapon fire. So that's great.
Yeah.
Daniel and Vala are not involved, but they can hear it nearby, so Daniel radios to Sam to tell her about it. Sam calls up to the Odyssey to ask for an extraction, but nope, no extraction's going to happen. Marks tries to get a lock on them, but he can't. Sam radios to the rest of the team that they can't be beamed out. She thinks that when she was touching things, as we've already seen that Daniel and Jack have gotten in trouble doing, she thinks she might have activated the shields. And so maybe that's why they can't get beamed out of there. Vala yells at her, why would you do that? But Sam says she didn't mean to. But she doesn't know how to reverse it, so she can't really fix it. However, she is going to try.
All right, Sam. We see in space some Hatak vessels, not to be confused with the leader of the Goa'uld, or the Jaffa, but
yes.
Actual Hatak vessels arrive at the planet. Then we are back in the ship where Emerson is talking to them over the radio, letting them know these vessels have arrived.
In another life, I hope Satak was a used Hatak salesman and he called it Satak's Hatak Emporium.
I do hope so. That would be amazing. Yes. I like this.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's good.
I felt it was important.
I agree. I'm just trying to picture the commercials now.
There's got to be some wacky inflatable fun men in there with a
Yes.
bunch of like parked Hataks around, I'm imagining.
Yep. This is what
Wacky
happened.
inflatable hagfish. I guess they wouldn't be hagfish because these are free Jaffa, so never mind. Wacky inflatable fun
They
men.
could be hagfish because they're mocking the Goa'uld.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah. And they've got some giant price stickers on the windshields of the Hatak
Yeah.
because they have windshields.
They do, don't they?
They have windows. I don't
They
know.
have a window. They have the front view window. I think you'd call it a windshield.
Technically,
I don't
any
know.
wind-
It's not wind because it's space. but
anything that could block wind, it could technically be a windshield.
yeah, could block solar winds.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Check out this attack. With this, you will die free. I don't know what those. Our die free
0 to
guarantee.
200 in 10 seconds.
Yes.
So much more eagle in the deluxe model.
Anyway. Carter advises the Odyssey to leave. So they do. Then we're on to Kara. Satak, the Hatak salesman, is there. He is speaking to other Jaffa, telling them that their first strike was a complete success and the Ori are not, in fact, invincible. Wahaha!
You're a loony.
Braytak comes in and is like, but at what cost was the success? And he's got Landry with him. Tak dismisses the other Jaffa, and he talks smack to Braytak. Landry says he's honored to be there and introduces himself. He also tells Satak that they are pissed because using this device violates their agreement that they have. And Satak's like, well, you made that arrangement with a different leader, and I don't feel bound to it, which felt way too much like shitty politicians that we know of.
Sure does.
Yep.
I don't need to stick to those Paris Climate Accords.
Satak says things have changed since his predecessors made those agreements, and we have this big-ass Ori enemy to fight. Our conventional weapons are useless, and so we're going to use what we have. You guys can't fight them either. Landry's like, but what about this slaughtering of innocent people? And Satak is like, maybe in the future we could do something different, but this is what we have right now. Landry's like, genocide, even incidental genocide, is not an option. And Satak says the cost of victory is great, but the cost of defeat would be greater, so I'm gonna do what I want. Suck it, human. He's cool. No.
Then we're back on the Ori ship again. Daniel and Vala are on the run, trying to go somewhere. I don't know, get away from the firing or help with the firing. They're just
Unclear.
running.
Yeah.
That's all we see. Yeah. Then we're in Adria's chamber on that same Ori ship. There's a bunch of candles, but they are unlit because Teal'c was not there to help with it. There are a couple of flames burning, though, on some fancy Ori pedestals.
What's a pedal stool?
And Daniel and Vala are in there trying to hide from the Jaffa that I guess were running in the halls behind them. Elsewhere, Mitchell is unconscious on the ground, so that is bad, and Teal'c is sitting there just leaning up against the wall. They've been captured by the Jaffa, so they're not dead yet, but it's not looking good for them. Borel wants to know where the rest of their team is because he knows that Mitchell was talking to a female, so there's got to be at least one or two more around here. Mitchell says he doesn't know what he's talking about. Worth mentioning that Mitchell has woken up. I did mention he was unconscious and then go on to him talking. He woke up.
He talks in his sleep.
Yeah,
Full on
or
answers
that.
questions.
Yep, indeed. Yes. Mitchell says, yeah, she's back in the village. She's probably gone through the gate by now. Nobody else here. It is just Teal'c and I on this ship. But Borel is not at all convinced by that. So he gets on the radio and sends out a message to all Tauri on the vessel. He says who he is and that he and his brothers have taken this ship in the name of all free Jaffa. And they have Teal'c and they've got Mitchell, and so surrender now and we won't harm them or kill them. And if you don't identify yourselves, then we're going to assume that you're hostile, and then we are going to deal with the prisoners harshly. Daniel and Vala, of course, can hear all this, but don't immediately react to what he's saying, and Sam is also listening in on this, but she doesn't get on the radio either. So Borel says, all right, that's fine. So be it. We see them aiming weapons at Mitchell and Teal'c, and we hear a staff turn on. No, then Sam and Daniel both go to act, but Daniel beats Sam to the actual radio, and he introduces him itself and says that he's there from Stargate Command, and they shouldn't be fighting each other. They should be working together on this, as the Jaffa and the Tauri have been doing for quite some time, but Borel doesn't see how that's going to be possible. Daniel says they're looking at some very advanced technology here, and he can be helpful in figuring out how to actually use it. Borel is incensed at the implication that he wouldn't be able to fly this ship or figure it out himself. But that's not exactly what Daniel's saying. He just says that he could save them some time because there isn't a lot of time, and he knows about these kinds of technology already. And it would be in everyone's best interest if they just work together instead of killing each other, maybe. That sounds like a not bad plan there, Daniel. Yeah. But no, Burrell is not interested. He's got orders to take the ship, and so he wants to know where Daniel is right away. And then Daniel and Vala hear some weapons charging behind them. And it turns out that there's a whole bunch of Jaffa in here. There had only been 4 initially, but now there's 4 more in here. So I guess they had more beam on or something. Yeah. So one of them tells Burrell over Daniel's radio that they have them. They don't know about Sam, but they've at least got Vala and Daniel, so for all they know, that's everybody. So Sam goes back to doing some work on the computer that she was futzing around with.
Sam free to Sam. While she's shilling for Dell this whole episode.
Yes. Daniel tries to warn them that they're making a big mistake as they're taking him and Vala out to, I guess go meet with everybody else. He says that Ori ships are going to be there soon. Vala tries to agree, but the Jaffa just say, well, those people will die too then. However, Adria is suddenly there. Suddenly Adria. She's not dead, and also she's here. And she uses her telepathic powers to take everybody's weapons out of their hands and kill everybody. Suffocating them Darth Vader style. So they're all dead or unconscious or whatever. And Vala is shocked, of course, to see Adria since she thought that Adria was dead. Adria is delighted to see her mom because she says that she has missed Vala and is happy that they are reunited now. And everybody told her that she should just forget Vala because Vala had abandoned her because Vala didn't care, but she didn't believe them. And now that they're back together, they're never going to be separated again. Vala asks how she could possibly still be alive, but Adria is wearing a pendant around her neck that she says saved her from whatever that weapon is. It is from the holy city of Celestis, and it protects her and keeps her safe. So, neat.
Yeah.
She's invincible.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Did you mention that she also Darth Vader Daniel for a minute?
Oh, I did not.
I just want to bring it up because I just want to make sure it's clear that if you didn't watch the episode, which I'm going to shout out to like at least one of my friends who listens to us but doesn't actually watch the show, that Adria is not a good person and she's not on their side.
No, she is not. Yes, that is worth mentioning. She did not try to Darth Vader Vala, but she did Darth Vader Daniel.
But eventually stopped at Vala's behest.
Insistence.
Yes. Elsewhere on the Ori ship, because most of this episode is on this ship, Burrell is with Teal'c Mitchell. He says, while some may hold the Tauri in great esteem for the assistance they provided the Jaffa against the Gwa'uld, he recognizes the contributions but questions the humans' motives. Probably more to do with self-preservation than generosity. And we probably could have defeated the Gwa'uld without them. So he just doesn't trust the Earth people, which is cool, and also disregarding all of the hard work. And also sometimes self-preservation is a good motive and doesn't mean you're not generous too. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, like, they're completely ignoring the fact that Teal'c is on the council and still part of the Jaffa Free Nation. They're just treating him like he's an outsider and an enemy.
It's wild.
It is weird.
Burrell holds up Mitchell's detonator and is like, what is this? And Mitchell's like, I don't know. So he pushes a button, which turns it on. And we get a quick shot of the C4 plastered to the glowy whatever that was in the center of the ship, in the center, wherever it was. It's not the center, because the center is a gaping hole, right?
Yes, I guess technically, yes.
Yeah. Mitchell refuses, so it seems like he's pretty willing to just let them blow up themselves in the ship, everyone on it.
Jean-Luc, blow up the damn ship!
Yep.
But he's distracted by the ship shutting off. All the lights go off. Burrell orders his other Jaffa to find out what's happening and puts the detonator down, saving them all from a pointless death. Because would Adria be able to survive the explosion too?
I would
her magic
assume,
necklace.
but who knows? Yeah. I would think.
Yeah.
But then she would fall however far it is from here to the ground. And could she survive a fall because of her necklace?
I don't
know.
We have a lot of unanswered questions about this magic necklace. Yeah.
We do.
Now that Sam's turned off the power, she grabs her gun and the prior staff weapon left at the throne and heads on out of there.
Then we're back in Adria's chamber. And Vala tells her that no, they're not going to go with Adria to rejoin the rest of the fleet as Adria would like them to do. Maybe come with us. But Adria says no, she's not going to abandon her army. They need her. She gives them motivation and they look up to her. She gives them guidance and protection and answers. Adria wants to know what happened to the people, her people on the planet here. But they're not going to tell her anything. They pretend to be ignorant. Or at least pretend that Daniel is ignorant. Vala says that Vala tells her not to hurt him because he doesn't know anything when Adria seems to be threatening to bring him harm if she doesn't get the answers that she wants. Adria tries a little bit harder to get answers out of her, but Vala keeps yelling at her to leave him alone. But Adria says that he has a strong mind, so her mind-reading tricks or her whatever she was trying to do to get him to talk was not working.
Jedi mind tricks.
Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jedi mind tricks. He's not weak-willed
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So she wakes up one of the Jaffa, who is apparently not dead, nearby, and gets him to talk. We can see the Jaffa struggling the way that Daniel was just struggling, and she goes on to taunt him, basically saying that they're a backwards people and primitive people and blah, blah, blah. How did they have such a fancy weapon? So it's apparent that she's getting information from him, even though he is not actually talking and is barely breathing, in fact, at this point. She asks him where it is. Vala continues to try to plead now on the part of the Jaffa to leave him alone, but Adria angrily tells her not to interfere and yells at the Jaffa to tell her where the weapon is.
Back with Teal'c and Mitchell, they're about to get rescued.
Yay!
Sam comes in and whacks one of the Jaffa with the prior staff, and then Teal'c and Mitchell take advantage, and the three of them handily take out the guards with, fisticuffs and Zat weapons. Good job, guys.
Indeed.
Mitchell quips, I didn't know you knew how to use one of those things. And she's like, piece of cake. Referring to the staff weapon. The prior staff weapon. They do know how to use. Cake would be great. Yep. Agreed. Then we're back in Adria's chamber where she is still torturing / prying into his brain the Jaffa. But he finally spits out a word. She asks where the weapon is and he says Dakara. And she kills him.
Yep. Great.
Yeah. We know where they're gonna go.
Yep. Adria soundly coming down on the side of bad guy.
Yes. If we had any questions, they've been answered.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yes. And then we're on to Kara with Landry and Satak talking about the weapon and the fact that it is in violation of the previous agreement, which they were already talking about before. And the alliance is in jeopardy. Satak doesn't see how any alliance that the Tauri and the Jaffa have had is of any benefit to them now. Braytak reminds him that the Tauri were instrumental in ending their enslavement with the Goa'uld, but Satak says that was in the past. I'm like, yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago, though, so it's not ancient history.
God.
They have a much more dangerous enemy now, though, so he doesn't care about that. That's old news. And every day that they're just sitting around here doing nothing, they're losing ground to the Ori, so they got to do something. The Tauri homeworlds remain curiously untouched, so he's suspicious that maybe the Tauri are working with the Ori. But they are the ones that are dying by the thousands, so he's going to do what he needs to do to protect the Jaffa. And Landry, though, points out that he tested the weapon not on a Jaffa world, but on a human world, so that's not a good look there, Satak. Why did they choose a human world instead of one of the Jaffa planets that have fallen to the Ori? But Stock won't answer that question. Discussion over.
Of course. On the ship, Sam, Teal'c, and Mitchell are wandering through a corridor. Sam lets them know that the Odyssey did try to beam them out, but because of this shield situation, they couldn't. Sam thought she had done it, but it seems like it wasn't her. So maybe there's someone else on board, Mitchell says. She lets them know the Odyssey did have to make a quick departure, so Teal'c says the Stargate is their only way off planet. Mitchell radios to Daniel and Vala, who they can hear them, but they do not answer because they're still there with Adria. Mitchell says, if you can hear me, we gotta get out of here. And Adria says, too late. She turns the ship on, and they're going to fly out of there. And then they fly out of there.
And Dakara, Landry, and Braytak are walking around talking about how they're going to need to rally supporters who are not on the side of genocide to try to stop this weapon, and they need to be people that Braytak can trust. But then they are stopped by 2 armed Jaffa, and Satak and another Jaffa comes up. Braytak wants to know what the hell's going on here, and they just received word that Ori ship has taken off. Sam, on the Ori ship, is trying to override some primary systems from the control room to see if she can take control over... Who is flying the ship?
Adria and her magic brain.
Okay, it is Adria.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought, but then I wasn't sure. She's going to try to take control over from Adria, I guess, but I wouldn't think that that's really going to work. If she can fly it telepathically, I don't know how overriding primary systems from the control room are really going to help with that, but that's what she's going to do.
Well, Sam doesn't know Adria is there.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah, there's that. Marks, over on the Odyssey, says that their scans are detecting no transmitter signals from the surface of the planet, so maybe SG1 escaped before the thing took off, hopefully? But Emerson thinks that Stargate Command would have given them a heads up by now if that were the case, so they must still be on the ship. And if that is the case, then they are going to be taken to rendezvous with the rest of the Ori fleet, and they are lost. Bummer, Marks. Emerson is trying to be an optimist here and says that maybe they do still have a chance of rescuing SG1 if the ship is headed where he thinks it is headed, which means he thinks it's going to take a detour to Dakara before meeting up with the rest of the Ori fleet. And so that is where they're going to go.
Everything's headed to Dakara now. I don't know what this song is. It's over now. On Dakara, Satak is incensed that the Ori ship destroyed his 3 Hitaka vessels he'd sent to the planet. Landry says he's sorry, but Satak is basically blaming SG1 for what happened. He's like, the Jaffa didn't do it. Nobody went through the Stargate. There's no other ships. Seems like you humans suck hard. Braytak is like, no. You cannot think the Tauri did this. Satak's like, that's the only explanation, dude. Landry argues that they do not conduct sneak attacks on their allies, even if we disagree with their tactics. Satak goes off the deep end. He's like, you're jealous of the power we command with this ancient device. And you want to take the Ori ship to fix the imbalance. And therefore, you just killed all my men and destroyed those Hitaka vessels. And Braytak's like, this is madness.
This is blasphemy. This is madness.
This is Sparta.
He orders some other Jaffa to guard Landry and Braytak and gets the hell out of there to go do stupid Satak things. Probably.
Yeah.
He's got some deals to work out before the Ori ship gets to Dakar.
He does. On the Ori ship, we see Sam, Mitchell, and Teal'c wandering around. They find a door. They go into that door. And it is the bridge that they have made their way back to. So I guess none of them actually know who's flying the ship because Mitchell actually asks who's flying it. So it is only Daniel and Vala and also all the rest of us that are aware of what's going on in Adria's chamber. She tells Vala that Toman's going to be happy to see her again, and Vala is shocked that he's still alive. She thought that he was on the planet when the weapon went off, but nope. Adria has been traveling around to all different planets and all different ships, so Toman wasn't even anywhere nearby and when this happened. He wasn't on the ship or on the planet or anywhere around. It's important that she makes herself known to all of the different ships because the Great Enlightenment is at hand. So, she's got to let everybody know that she exists and go out and motivate all the troops, I guess, which is why she's skipping around from ship to ship all the time. There's a bunch of other ships that are going to be joining up with them at some point. Daniel asks how many, and she doesn't say. She just says many, many more. By her estimation, the galaxy's going to be converted within the year, so that'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the bridge of the Ori ship, Sam is there again, trying to Sam. Mitchell radios to Daniel and Vala, but they don't answer, so he tells Teal'c they're going to have to go look for them. Sam says she's going to stay and keep working there. Mitchell and Teal'c head out, they wander around, and run right into some more Jaffa. Or the same Jaffa, I don't know, but Jaffa.
Yes. Back in Adria's chamber, she's very good at flying the ship with her mind while also carrying on an entire conversation.
Really?
Because she has continued to talk to them about how she doesn't know why Vala's complaining. She should be delighted that her daughter is the Orisai, and she's going to be revered by all of the followers. Vala says that just sounds like too much celebrity for her. She doesn't want to have to deal with all of the talking to people, basically. She's not good with crowds. But Adria says there will be no demands on her at all. All she needs to do is accept origin. That sounds like a pretty big demand, though.
Indeed.
And Vala does say that could be a problem. But Adria is optimistic because eventually she knows that Vala will embrace the truth. Vala, not so convinced. Adria starts to get a bit angry at that assertion because this is her mom, and if she can't convince her own mother to join their forces, how is she going to be able to sway anybody else to believe her if her own mom doesn't believe her? That's going to just look really bad on her. So, until she's got Vala in the fold, then she's a failure. But Vala says, well, I can be very stubborn. Daniel backs her up on that. So Adria says that she'll be very patient and determined. Daniel asks what about all of the other people that refuse to bow down to the will of the Ori? Will Adria give them the same courtesy? But no, of course not, because there are limits to her patience that don't extend past her mom. But Daniel says that there is a difference between devotion and blind submission. So you can't expect to win everyone's actual faith if they're basically just bowing down because they're afraid of you and not because they actually believe. So Adria wants to know what Daniel expects her to do. Daniel says that they should be given a choice what they want to do. But no, that's not an option. She wants to bring together an entire galaxy from darkness into light, as she says. And so that means everyone's got to bow down and worship her and the Ori. Otherwise, any doubt's going to spread like a cancer.
You want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs.
Neat.
Yeah. She's fun.
No.
Back with Mitchell, Teal'c, and their Jaffa buddies. Mitchell tells them this is getting old. Burrell demands the ship be turned back, and Mitchell's like, yeah, we're not flying it, which Burrell doesn't believe. And then Teal'c's like, do you think I'm a liar? Really? We don't know who's doing this. And we share a common enemy, so Mitchell's like, maybe we work together to retake the ship? And the Jaffa decide that's probably a good idea, because they lower their weapons. Then we're back in Adria's chamber, where Vala tries to continue talking, but Adria says the time for talking is over, and they have arrived at Takara. Uh-oh, and Teal'c and Mitchell look out a window and realize where they are. Bad news for everyone. It's Takara.
Satak comes into the room with Landry, and I'm assuming Braytak is there.
I think so.
I don't remember. But he says that his suspicions have been confirmed. Landry asks what he's talking about. Satak tells him that the Ori ship has just gotten here, and you want us to just give up the ancient device to them rather than let us have it. But of course, Landry has no idea what he's talking about, and of course, the people on Earth are not responsible for this. Satak says they're going to gather the fleet and lay siege to Earth. So that's neat. Cool. They're going to take back the Ori ship, and they're going to avenge all their fallen brothers on Earth. So awesome.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
Teal'c and Mitchell are still staring out the window. They agree whoever is flying the Ori ship are not there for a friendly trip. Teal'c suggests maybe they set the C4 off. With the engines activated, it might have a shot of taking out the whole ship. Mitchell agrees this is a good idea. Or the only idea. So he prepares to set it off. He takes a moment, though, and Teal'c's like, what up, Colonel Mitchell? Mitchell said he was trying to think of appropriate last words, but he couldn't think of any. Mitchell flips the switch, and nothing happens. Mitchell wants to know why. I think we know why. Mitchell doesn't still,
I
but
think so. No.
Yeah.
Adria, in her chamber, tells Daniel and Vala that they should thank her because she just saved their lives. Vala has no idea what she's talking about, but of course we all know what she's talking about. She stopped the explosion from happening. Jaffa comes in and points a staff weapon at Adria, but of course that doesn't matter. She just uses her mind powers to rip that out of his hands and throw him against a wall.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
And then she closes the door as 2 more Jaffa are trying to get in. Out in space, the Odyssey comes out of hyperspace. Emerson tells SG1 that they're there and that he's going to try to beam them out of there. Sam says it won't work because the shields are still up. She's trying to shut it down, so please hang on a second. Down on Earth, Satak says that their weapon is capable of firing through a gate, so it is going to release a wave that will encompass this world and beyond, wiping out all life forms on any ships that happen to be in planetary orbit. And they're going to be perfectly safe within the chamber where they are now. It sounds like he's planning on trying to fire it on Earth, even though he didn't specifically say that. So that's neat. And Landry and Braytak are going to be there to survive and bear witness to the destruction of everybody on Earth. So awesome.
Neat.
Yeah. And the Jaffa have finally taken their rightful place as the true power in the galaxy.
Good God. You sound like a Goa'uld.
Right? Seriously. He's awful.
Yeah. Then we're back with Adria, Daniel, and Vala. While outside of the room they're in, Jaffa fire weapons, staff weapons at the door trying to get in. Daniel says it won't be that easy, and I think he's referring to their conversation about how it's only going to take her a year to take over the galaxy. Yes, that's where we left off.
Yeah.
She says, I don't think it's going to be that hard. We're about to destroy the only real threat, this weapon. Daniel's like, you're forgetting about the ancients. And she's like, those people aren't getting involved. You know that.
She's not wrong.
It's true. She is not wrong. Vala offers herself up. She promises to stay and hear her out about Origin if she just lets everyone else go. But Adria says it is too late for them. But I will keep Daniel alive because we have plans for him.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Lucky Daniel.
Daniel is very lucky.
In the control room for the ancient weapon, which looks, we've seen this weapon before. It's the same thing that we saw on like the Groundhog Day episode, and they were messing around with this in a previous episode too. Yeah. So they are getting it ready to go. Landry is there saying that he's got people on board that ship. I guess they're firing on the ship first, not firing on Earth yet. They're trying to destroy the Ori vessel first.
Yeah.
And Satak says that there's not going to be people up there much longer. Fire the weapon. The weapon starts to activate. It comes out of the top of the mountain like we've seen it do before. Sam, meanwhile, is furiously samming on her laptop.
Her Dell XPS
doing
laptop.
Stuff. Yes. She tells the Odyssey that they are all set. Just in the nick of time, they get beamed out of there. And the weapon sends out a wave that goes across the entire surface of the planet. The Odyssey gets the hell out of there and goes into hyperspace. The Ori ship is surrounded. Of course, it doesn't affect Adria, as we've seen before, so she's still alive as the Jaffa die around her. And so then she uses her special brain powers to fire the Ori ship on the energy weapon, destroying the energy weapon, and then that basically destroys all of Dakara from there, or at least it will shortly, because it starts falling apart. Satak asks what happens, and the Jaffa say that it has no effect, apparently. It did kill some Jaffa, but I guess they don't know that because they don't know that all that's left up there is Adria. Braytak is actually still there with Landry as well, so they're going to try to get the hell out of there. The gate is currently unguarded because the area was evacuated. Satak tells the Jaffa there to fire again. Satak tells the Jaffa to fire the weapon again. The Ori ship keeps firing down on the weapon from space as Braytak and Landry make their escape through the wormhole. And last we see is the weapon basically being blown up completely and raining down chaos on the planet outside of the big mountain complex.
Yeah.
And it exploded.
Thing. That was words.
It was. Those were words.
Yeah.
I like the words.
Thank you.
So this weapon.
Yes.
I think they had said they were firing it and it was going to hit the planet and anything in orbit.
Yeah.
Were there not other Jaffa on this planet? Did they evacuate them? Do Jaffa not generally go there unless they have council business? I'm so confused.
They said that they had evacuated when they were talking about Tilk and Landry getting out. So I had assumed that they meant that either the planet was evacuated either on the surface or that the space around it was evacuated.
Okay. Because I was like, what? Why? Why would you do this?
Presumably there were not too many people there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there were some people in there with, there were people in there with Satak and everybody, but there weren't a ton of people. And they did say that chamber was safe.
Yeah. Why is that chamber safe? No one knows.
No.
Some ancient reason, I'm sure.
Surely so.
Then we're back in the SGC, where SG1, Landry, and Braytak are gathered in the conference room. Teal'c reports that a cargo ship they had sent to Dakara reports that there was complete and utter devastation, which is very upsetting. Sam reports that 5 more planets have fallen to the Ori, including Hebridean and Langara, which, if we don't recall, Hebridean was the world where Sam did the space race.
I was wondering because I could not remember.
Langara is Jonas Quinn's world.
Oh.
I know.
Is Jonas okay?
We don't
Let's
know.
assume he is.
I know. They haven't heard anything, but Jonas is, maybe Jonas was on a different planet or something. Yeah. Jonas is fine. He's fine.
He's got to be fine.
Absolutely. Mitchell says, it looks like our only hope for fighting the Ori is this Merlin device, so Landry orders it found and dismisses them.
Hasn't he ordered it found like 20 times already?
Yes. We're back to our endless quest for Merlin's weapon.
Yeah.
After Landry leaves, Braytak reports that the Jaffa nation is fractured, the council's in disarray, and without Dakara, everything they fought for, he thinks, is lost. Teal'c is the optimist. He says the war is not over. And Braytak says, if only I could have opposed Satak better. And Vala says, there's nothing to be gained by second-guessing yourself, and you can't remake the past and look ahead or risk being left behind. And she leaves. She's pretty despondent and sad.
Yeah.
And Braytak says she displays the wisdom of a battle-seasoned warrior, and Daniel says she's a mother, and that's close enough. And that's the end of the episode.
I've known some very unwise mothers.
Indeed.
So I'm not saying that all of them are. Some of them are very smart and wise and strong people, but I've known some kind of idiotic ones too.
Yeah.
Did you like the episode?
Did I like the episode? It kept my attention. I found it way less tedious than some of the other Ori episodes, and maybe having a break has helped with that. I don't know. It's always good to see Braytak, even if it's in sad circumstances, and at least at this point, I don't have any, other than the fact that Adria is evil, I'm not, annoyed by her or anything. So I feel like that's a good thing. She's a foe with a very terrible worldview and horrible powers, so I don't know. It just wasn't as bad as I was thinking it would be going back to Ori stuff, so I'm going to call it a win and say I liked it. How about you?
It was all right. I didn't dislike it, but as we've talked about, I don't think the Ori are a good bad guy or anything, and my opinion hasn't changed on that. So it does make it a little bit harder for me to really enjoy these episodes that are all Ori focused. But it was fine. Objectively, it was a decent episode. It was pretty well paced and quick paced, and there were explosions, which I always appreciate, as we've mentioned. And there were people in danger. It did feel high stakes, so it wasn't like it didn't drag or anything like that. It did keep my interest well enough, even though I don't like the Ori storyline in general. So I would say it was all right.
Okay.
Didn't love it. Definitely didn't hate it.
Yeah.
It was pretty decent overall, but I wouldn't say that I necessarily liked it.
All right.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about next?
Next is Stargate Atlantis, Season 3, Episode 7, Common Ground. According to TVDB, Colonel Shepard finds himself the prisoner of a Janai commander, along with a desperately hungry Wraith who has been separated from his hive. At IMDb, John Shepard is kidnapped by the Janai and is in the company of a Wraith. Weird.
Is there anything worse than being lonely and hungry?
No. Lungry.
Poor Wraith.
Yeah. So sad.
So sad. But now he has a new friend.
Oh, yay.
Yay. Frenemy.
Lucky
enemy.
Wraith. Yes.
Full on enemy. Anyway. Yeah.
It's basically like putting a mouse in with a snake.
Yes.
Not a friend so much as dinner.
Indeed. Yeah. That mouse is going to eat the hell out of that snake.
Right? Yeah. Vicious mouse.
Oh, yeah.
It's been genetically engineered. Don't trust it.
No.
Yeah.
Probably got one of those Adrian necklaces too.
Yeah. Or it's like the rabbit of whatever it is from Monty Python.
Yes.
Nasty big pointy teeth.
Absolutely.
Kyrbanoth? Something like that. I don't know. I forget what they called it.
I didn't know it had a name.
It is the rabbit of Kyrbanoth.
Oh, okay,
like
okay.
I don't remember exactly. It didn't have a specific name, but I don't remember if that's actually right, but
Yeah.
something like that, I think. Anyway, anything else?
I don't think so.
Thank you so much for listening to Stargazing with Kathy and Mary. Our fully listener-supported program couldn't be done without you. Show your support by telling everyone you know how awesome this show is. Find us at stargazing.space. Reach us by email at stargazing@gmail.com. Find us on social media at Blue Sky. Get some merch, tinyurl/stargazing. And finally, show your financial support at patreon.com/stargazing. Thank you for traveling through the gate with us. Catch you next time on Stargazing with Kathy and Mary.
All right, I'm Mary.
I'm Kathy.
And you've been listening to Stargazing. The end.
The end. I have a kitten that wants to go play more.
Aw. I want ice cream.
Ooh.
So that's what I'm going to do.